Welcome to the Financial Advisor Marketing Playbook. This is Mark Mersman. And in today's quick wins segment, I want to share 4 things that we know about your best clients and what to do with that information inside your practice to build trust and improve the quantity and quality of introductions you receive from those clients. Stay tuned.
This is the Financial Advisor Marketing Playbook, a show for financial advisors who want to explore the topic of client acquisition and business growth. Your host is Mark Mersman, Chief Marketing Officer at USA Financial. He is an investment advisor representative of securities offered through USA Financial Securities, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
So I want to talk a little bit about your best clients. And when we think about this, when you really look at who your best clients are, let's get into a little bit of their mindset. So there's a few things that we can pretty confidently say that we know about almost all of your best clients. And, whether or not, especially if you think through when you first met with them, what we know is they don't want to be surprised. When you think about your existing clients now, and if you've ever lost a client, the reality is that clients don't leave you, because you did what you told them you were going to do. They leave you because they were surprised by something, whether it was a lack of communication or whatever that might be. So we know that your best clients don't want to be surprised. And really, your job as a good financial professional for them is to help reduce the surprises in their lives, especially their financial lives. So keep that in mind. They don't want to be surprised. So what else do we know? None of them really know the true value of working with a financial advisor. And that isn't necessarily their fault. It's not even, always, I think that this is more of an industry problem because the term financial advisor, financial planner gets thrown around so loosely. And there are so many different paths that one can go in this industry. So they don't really know the true value of working with a financial advisor. And so left to their own devices, they're going to make certain assumptions about the value of working with a financial advisor. And chances are when you won that client over for the first time, it was because you demonstrated to them that there was much more value to working with you than whatever their current situation was. And so, but they don't really know the true value of working with a financial advisor. So that's incumbent upon you as the advisor to educate them and help them understand what your role is going to be in their lives. Thinking about that same concept, what we also know about the vast majority of your clients is that they can't describe what you do very well to others. If a friend of theirs were to ask them, hey, what does your financial advisor do? It is very hard for them to articulate what it is. And oftentimes they might pigeonhole you, whether that's pigeonholed into a product or pigeonholed how they met you. And so they don't really understand all that you do, and especially not things that you could be doing for them in the future, which leads me to the 4th thing here. And that is they hired you whenever that was, whether that was recently or whether that was years ago, they hired you to help them solve a specific set of problems and challenges that they were facing at that point in their lives. If you're courting a new prospective client right now, you're helping to address, and this is really the pain point that you're focusing on initially, is the set of problems or challenges that are facing them today. The reality is, and we all know this, those problems will be different in the future. And so you need to make sure that they know that you can solve those problems too. And this really comes down to something that we've referred to over the years as future pacing the relationship. And this concept is, it's not new and it's not exclusive to our industry at all. I think it becomes more important in our industry because there isn't much, there's not a whole lot of tangibility in our industry. And so the more that you can create that tangibility to help set the tone for what that relationship is going to be today and into the future, the better. And this starts from the moment that you meet them. Understand before they become a client, they're looking at you, and the only thing that they might have to compare what it is that you're doing to is a prior relationship, whether that's maybe with somebody in their 401k, or maybe they've got an advisor. And so there's kind of that comparison that they're doing at that point. And so the more that you can clearly articulate and clearly explain what the process is going to be. If you've ever been, gone through, whether it's working with a company, whether it's something on the professional side or even something on the entertainment side, when you experience something that, really feels like a well-oiled machine, it's because largely they've laid it all out for you. They've taken the headaches of certain decisions that you might have to make. They've taken all of that out, and they've spelled out to you what to expect. This needs to take place from the moment you meet them. What should they expect during that first meeting? What is the second meeting? What are subsequent meetings going to look like? And so that they understand, they can see and connect the dots as to what's coming as a part of working with you in your financial planning process. So be thinking about that. Make sure that you create some sort of marketing collateral. Doesn't have to be some extensive piece, but something that lays out for them and that you can share with them and walk them through step by step. This is where we're at now. Next, this is what we're doing. Here's what we'll need during that process and during that step, and here's what we're going to accomplish. That gives them a sense of relief, and they don't need to have their guard up wondering what is going to be coming next. Now, once they become a client, I think it's going to be really important that we do the same thing, that we, what is that like initially? How do you articulate what being a client of your firm, what that's like? The first 6 months, obviously, when you bring a new client on, they're busy. There's a ton of activity. You're opening up new accounts. You're establishing new relationships. You might be introducing them to members of your team, perhaps collateral professionals that you partner with. And so they've got a lot of activity. And those clients during that moment, it's part of the reason why that oftentimes is one of the moments of highest opportunity, greatest opportunity for you to get new introductions and referrals, because they're sitting there at a point of high value. They're seeing all this activity and they're saying, this is what I paid for. I wasn't getting this from my last advisor. Well, it's because once a lot of that heavy lifting is done up front, you don't have the same level of activity. Loyalty fatigue sets in. And so as a result, we have to make sure that they know the value of the ongoing relationship. How frequently will they meet with you? What's going to be discussed? Is it, every fall, are we doing some tax things? Every spring, are we doing, whatever it might be? Whatever you do inside of your practice, you want to do it with that same level of consistency, and you want to articulate to them what to expect, because we want to ensure that they understand that there's value in this relationship both today and into the future. We also need to make sure that they are aware that you're going to be with them as their life evolves and as they have new problems that come up. And I would encourage you to go so far as to spell out what some of those big life moments might be that might trigger the need for some new planning or to revisit the current plan, whether that's the death of a spouse, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a divorce, whether it's a grandchild coming into their lives. It could be very positive type of things. It could be negative type of things. Either way, you want to ensure that even though that set of problems isn't facing us today, it is likely and very possible down the road that that's the set of problems and challenges that you're going to face. And don't worry, our firm is equipped to handle that. Here are some of the things that we do when we get to that point in our journey. We have to ensure that we're constantly reminding them of that. And I know a lot of you might sit here and say, well, of course, I have that conversation when we first bring them on, let them know all this. These clients will forget. And it's not just your clients. It's all of us. The pace at which life moves today, the second they walk out your office, they've forgotten 60, 70, 80% of what it is that you just shared with them. So we have to constantly remind them and imprint the things that you do inside of your practice for them, what that future is going to be like. And so I would encourage you to think about articulating this formally, whether that's creating a physical document, whether it's a client care matrix, or some sort of service matrix, so that they can look at it and see, wow, we're getting a ton of value from this relationship, both today, because they're going to feel that value initially, because there's a lot of touches initially, but what are the things down the road, and how can I make sure that I see this value into the long term? Now, remember, the reason that they hired you initially was because they trusted you as somebody who could solve a problem or a set of problems that they were facing at that point in time in their lives. What are we doing now that you've already won them as a client? What are we doing to continue to build that trust? What are you doing to strengthen that relationship? And what are you doing to make sure that they know that they can trust you to solve the problems that they will have in the future? And, one of the things that we encourage is a regular phone call, just a simple quarterly check-in, and touch on some of the highlight areas. For us, a lot of times we'll coach through the concept of family, occupation, recreation, and money as the 4 key conversation starting points on a quick check-in call. Because when you think about those 4 things, if anything has changed in those 4 categories in their lives, there's a strong chance that something from that will trigger some sort of a planning need or a planning adjustment or a change that needs to be made. So be thinking about that and ensure them that they can trust you and count on you to be alongside them throughout that relationship. And the truth is, once you accomplish this, you've got a client for life. You can continue to build on that trust. What is it that you're doing to build that trust in that client, that you are impressing upon them all the things that you do, and you're plotting that out and you're future pacing what that relationship is going to be like? That client is much more likely to refer and introduce their friends, their family, the people that they care about, to potentially become a client of the firm. Good luck. Keep earning that trust, doing what you're doing. Think about these little things that you can do to help them understand not only what that relationship is going to be like today, but years into the future. Take care.
This information is for licensed financial professionals only and is not intended for use in soliciting sales from the public. The views expressed represent the opinions of the presenter or their featured guest, not necessarily those of USA Financial or its affiliated subsidiaries. Industry references are generic and are not intended to represent actions or beliefs of any individual or entity. Content is only presented to illustrate general principles, beliefs, or ideas and should not be construed as legal or regulatory advice. Trademark and copyright protected. USA Financial and Affiliates.